Hello, welcome back to the Makeso shop, where we're in sunny Singapore, where we hold craft classrooms and we also promote our Hestai products. Today, we're going to take you through a production run of the staff sweatshirts that we made that are being modeled here by Cheryl. They feature the left chest logo here on the front and a full logo in the back. And we're going to take you all the way through the entire process, how we did them, right here after the intro, if you're interested. Okay, welcome back to the overhead view here at the shop. I want to thank Cheryl for modeling the sweatshirt for us so you can get a great look at it. What we had here was we had one of our clients that we've done a lot of orders with. They wanted to get some sweatshirts done with their left chest logo on the front and a large logo on the back. And I thought this was a good chance to make a video for you guys, because one of the things that where our t-shirt ruler, or any t-shirt ruler, is going to really shine to do this is when you're doing staff type of shirts that are meant to be seen and worn with the other group of shirts. So that's when the location that you put your graphic on becomes important. Now, the location becomes important of consistency. If it's up a little bit, down a little bit, long as you put it in the same place every time, that's going to be the good thing, because especially when you have two or more people with the same shirt standing next to each other, any deviations in the placement is going to be very noticeable. So we have our left chest logo that we did here, and it features a large logo in the back. So I'm going to stay on the large logo in the back real quick, because I want to stress one more thing. When you're taking your t-shirt jobs and you're working on them, we don't show our cutting and weeding process. We will do other videos to show our cutting and weeding process, but you must take in consideration the how difficult it is to weed and how difficult it is to cut when we're thinking about taking these jobs. This logo is not our logo. This is a logo that was provided by the client to us. And as you can see, it does have some difficulties. These little stripes and things in here can really be a pain. So you want to keep that in mind when you're making a shirt, designing a shirt, or looking to take a job and somebody presents you with their artwork and you see little details like these little small pieces here, very small fonts and text and very thin strip lines out. These all can be problematic, and this is where all like getting these small texts done, really, that's why we created our weed pad, to add a little bit of heat to the HTV when you're taking it off, because when you're doing a big piece of vinyl, it really doesn't make that big of a difference, but when you're doing these small detail works, it really makes a huge difference. Also, while we created the Cool Touch cooling block and how we use it, which I'll show you today, comes into the small pieces here and making sure that they get adhered and sunk down deep into the shirt. So it's about working with the details. I think a lot of people look at some of the tools that we have and they may make a one-off t-shirt that's like a big circle with a smiley face and it says, oh, I don't need a centering tool, I don't need a cooling block. Well, you're exactly right. For something that simple, you would not need it. Our tools are really tools we developed as we were working with these little detailed works and coming up with problems that we were having in our own production. And then we would solve those problems with creating like the cooling block, the centering guide, and our weed pad, and we're sharing those problem solving tools with you, and we make them available on our Hestai shop that you can find online. You can find them on Amazon and you can find them on Etsy. From there, I'm going to take you right into the project from here. So we're going to come back. We're going to stay with the overhead view, but we're going to come back and start working on the design. All right, we got a fresh shirt sitting here. We've got our Cricut Easy Press ready to go. As you heard by the beep, I'm going to run through the tools that I'm going to use today with you here. Of course, we have the shirt. We have our HTV, which is Sizer Easy Weave stretch, as I always use. We will align the design in various different ways today with our Easy T Maximus and using the grid points today. So we're using the clear one today because we're going to want to use these grid points that we use here. We will be using our Cool Touch cooling block, and that's going to cool it down to help us with some shrinking, because there will be some shrinking issues with this design today, and also the final press to get that real deep sink in there that we always love to get and love to show close-ups of. We're going to be covering it with our Teflon sheet. You can find these or pick these up on Amazon, fairly cheap. And then also today we'll be using a Teflon pillow, and we're going to be using them in two sizes. This one for the left chest, this larger one for the back logo. We don't sell these, but these can also be picked up on Amazon as well, fairly easy. Okay, so to start off, we won't press the shirt like we normally do, because with a hoodie, you've got these large zippers and very thick seams. So we would have to put a pillow under it, and it's really not going to matter. So we're just going to make sure it presses, that it lays down flat and nice on its own. And we're going to start with our Easy T Maximus. And with our Easy T Maximus, we're going to roughly get it around the collar, but this time we're going to really utilize the dots on the side here to actually line it up between the two sides. Now, as you see, when we line up the dots with the two sides, the zipper doesn't exactly hit in the center, because these shirts are not perfect. And so we're going to get close as we can here, but it's going to look pretty good. And we're using these two dots here on the corner, on the edges of the shoulder, and line it up here. And using that on various sizes will get us a relative ratio size to lay down in shirt. And it also is going to, what it's going to do is give us a good even line across the shirt. So we're going to get 2 points there with that. And from here we can have, we've got our center line mark, our left chest mark. And we're going to use, and we're just going to put this right in the center of the left chest, right at the top of it there. Now, you yourself, you could have chose to go over a little, or you could have went a little bit that way, a little bit that way, probably looks a little close, but you could have did various things. But what the t-shirt guide is going to enable you to do, it's going to, whatever you choose to do, you just make sure you do it again and again every time, so it matches every time. So we went like with the center, and so every one we did, we lined up just like this, so that the lineup was consistent, sorry. So we'll move that out the way. Now this, if we press this right down right away, we're not gonna get a good press, because this thick seam line is going to block us from getting the press, and also these seam lines here. And this is where we're going to use our Teflon pillow. So basically we're going to shove our Teflon pillow up under it to raise the graphic up. Make sure it's sitting nice there, and we got a nice raised graphic from here. At this point, it's a smaller graphic, so shrinking is going to be less, but we still want to worry about shrinking. So we're going to do a quick press, and what we're going to remember, that Teflon pillow is going to retain a lot of heat. We don't want to pull it out for the next layer. So we're going to try to cool it off as much as we can, and then work quickly to go to the next layer, and try to tack press it as quick as we can. So I'm going to go for a quick 5-second tack press, pull it off, make sure that the HT adheres down, and go for the next layer. So we'll go ahead and do our tack press from here. Press it in. I got to push the table a little bit. That's 5 seconds right there. Let it up, and then we're going to carefully peel it off from there to make sure none is put. It'll fight you back a little bit, but it should come off just like that a little bit. Now I'm going to scoop my table here a little bit because I'm having trouble reaching. There we go. And I'm gonna cool it down a little bit. I'm gonna lift it up off that pillow somewhat because that pillow under it is still warm, because all of this I'm doing is trying to minimize the shrinkage of the HTV, because now with these thin lines and the way this logo is done, the lineup for this is not really easy to work with if there's any shrinkage. So it's very shrinkage sensitive because of those thin lines and thin hoops around there. So you really want to make sure you don't get the shrinkage on a logo of something like this. Other logos can be more forgiving. This one is not. Now the next layer I'm putting on, you could literally go with a full press on here, but I'm not. I'm going to go with another 5-second tack press, and then I want all the carrier sheets off and then do a full press. So we're gonna do a quick 5-second tack press here. There's our 5 seconds done. Get the heat off of it and pull it off. Okay, so now all the HTV, sorry, let me talk to the camera. All the HTV is together. And so any shrinkage that does happen at this point is all gonna happen together. So it's gonna be uniform. So, and that's why I like to do another tack press, get it on, and then get the carrier labels off. So now we have just nothing but HTV, tack press to the shirt, and now I'm going to full press it all the way down into the shirt. So we'll give it the 20-second press. And when I'm using the pillow, I do kind of lean on it a little bit, but I'm not doing the standing on it or, you know, putting every ounce of pressure I can on it. I'm just giving it a good pressure, a good push down while I'm doing it. We will remove the heat. And from this point, I want to remove the heat of that pillow, because it'll just keep it hot if I keep doing it. And there, I'm going to take my cooling block, and what I'm going to do is actually pushing the hot HTV into the fibers while it's cooling it. So what this is going to do is take that hot, melty HTV, and while it cools it, locks it in place. Because if you let it cool on its own, it can actually lift while it's cooling. And this way, you just push it and you lock it in place. You can hear the little bit of the paper pulling against it. That means you know you pulled it well and it's in there. And then there you have your first left chest logo. So we're gonna go ahead and continue on to the back, and we will just pretty much repeat the process. We wanna get our shoulders up, get them even on there, get it to lay flat without pressing it. Though on a regular t-shirt, you would go ahead and press it to get it to lay flat. Here you still got that seam, remember, right there in the front. So you can't really do that. And then what I do is come down and I find that same point that I used on the front, I will use it on the back. And now my left chest height and my back height are at the exact same height. Straight line across. We'll bring the logo here to the center. Make sure it fits nice and square. It is square there across the back. Now we're going to take our bigger pillow this time to cover the whole design while we're pressing, and lift that off the seams there. Reach through, fill your pillow, make sure that your pillow is big enough to press against the whole graphic. So the whole graphic is getting pressure from the pillow. And then we're gonna do a 5-second tack press on that. And quickly, 5, and we're off. After you do your tack press, the key is to do a careful peel, because if you didn't tack it enough, you can always go back. But that's smooth as butter. Yes, okay. So when you do your tack press, and this is, I'm gonna lift it. Y'all can feel it's still hot. We're gonna cool this down a little bit because I was talking and not paying attention, and I hope I didn't let it shrink too much. Cool it, get it nice and cool. Okay, but What was I saying? Okay, yeah, so when you do your tack press, there could be a tendency to go in, because it's a hot peel, to hit it and try to rip it away real quick. You don't want to do that. When you do your tack presses, you want to carefully pull that layer away, just in case something is not tacked enough. You can always go back and hit it with a little bit more heat and a little bit more pressure. Of course, that's going to lead to a little bit more shrinking, so you don't want to hit it with too much, but you need to get it to stick. Okay, we're going to do the second layer and see if we have shrinking issues. And we appear to be nice. Now, if we did have shrinking issues, what we could do is we could separate the graphic and line it up a little bit better. That's a little bit more of a pain, but it's something that can be done if your graphics are not lining up perfect, exactly like you would want them. This one fits in there nicely. So what I would do is, like, if it was shifted, moved, there was too much shrinkage in here and there, I could literally remove this from that part and then put them on one at a time and then do micro adjustments to make it work out. Fortunately, our technique led to not that much shrinkage, so we're okay with it. And we're gonna do the same thing on this side. 5-second tack press for the red layer to lay down, and tack onto the white layer. And then we'll remove the carrier sheet. That was a little bit long. Remove the carrier sheet. There. Okay, and now we can we don't really need to cool it because it's all at one thing from there. Now we can do a single press of the whole thing without the carrier sheet. So we're gonna do a 20-second full press without the carrier sheet. And we're pressing pretty decently, getting a nice workout. And full press and off. And then from there, we're gonna remove our pillow, get that heat from the pillow gone. And we're gonna take our Cool Touch cooling block again, and we're gonna hit the graphic, pushing that hot HTV into the fabric while it's cooling. And it's cooled down pretty quick here. And when I say cool, we're not saying refrigerator cool. Again, I've done many videos that said this before. You never want to put your cooling block in the freezer or the refrigerator. People say, oh, that's my tip or that's my trick. It's not a good tip or trick, because what you're going to do is, if you have this ice frozen cold and you put it on heat, what you're going to introduce is condensation. Condensation pulls moisture from out of the air. So no matter even if this is wrapped in a towel or whatever, it's going to pull moisture out of the air, and you could put moisture underneath your HTV or on top of your HTV, and you can end up ruining your design. When we say cool, we're talking about getting it to room temperature, just above room temperature, shrinking it way down from the 160 degrees Celsius, which whatever that is, Fahrenheit. I'll try to add it in post of what it is Fahrenheit, but you want to get it way below that pressing temperature, but you don't need it to be cold. It doesn't need to be ice cold. Okay, so with that, we're ready to pull it off, and here you'll probably be able to hear it again. I'll get quiet so you can hear it. You heard it there, and that's the fibers. It's sticking into the Teflon, sticking deep into the shirt itself, and there you have it right there. That's how we do it when we line up for the lineup and for using the cooling block, our two products that we have here, and how we go about doing multiple shirts. So I think it came out really good. Looks great. This is about the 4th or 5th one in this cycle that we did. I'm going to take you and do some close-ups, and we'll talk about the close-ups real quick, and we'll do that off screen. Thanks. Okay, here are the close-ups. As you can see, The HTV is sinking very deep, very nicely into the sweatshirt. I think it sinks deeper into the sweatshirt than it does into t-shirts. You can see the small fine print there is coming out well, which is always a problem. And it looks like the process that we're using is working well with the Cool Touch. So thanks very much for joining us today and watching us make these cool sweatshirts, which we think they came out absolutely great. And they look and they feel great on the shirt. It's a beautiful way of doing HTV. We really love HTV. If you have any comments or questions or even tips of your own or a way that you do your process of doing this, or even questions about the business of doing t-shirts or the business of selling on Etsy or anything of that sort, please let's start the conversation in the comments below, because we are learning this whole thing together and we love being on this journey with you. Probably just to mention, this might be the last video in this setting because we're moving locations. So you might see some location changes in the new videos, but please continue to stay tuned and interact and enjoy with us. Thanks so much for watching, and come back next time.